For months, Kyle Richards stayed quiet while the headlines wrote their own version of her marriage. She smiled in public. She avoided direct answers. She let the speculation build. But now, according to people close to her, that silence is over. Behind the scenes, things were never as calm as they looked. What started as rumors about distance and separate lives has allegedly turned into something much deeper: questions about loyalty, business decisions, and money. A lot of money. Sources claim Kyle recently discovered information that forced her to reevaluate everything she believed about her 27-year marriage. Not just emotionally, but financially. And if what insiders are hinting at is true, this is no longer just a story about a couple growing apart. It's about trust, power, and what really happens when love and business mix for decades. Those close to Kyle say she feels betrayed, not just as a wife, but as a partner who helped build an empire from the ground up. And now, for the first time, she may be ready to explain why she can't stay silent anymore. To understand why this moment feels so heavy, you have to go back to the beginning. When Kyle Richards married Mauricio Umansky nearly 3 decades ago, they weren't the power couple the world sees today. There were no private jets, no billion-dollar listings, no global real estate empire. There was ambition, hustle, and a young family trying to build something from scratch. Kyle was already a recognizable face in Hollywood, navigating fame from a young age. Mauricio, at that time, was still finding his footing in business. Over the years, their marriage became more than personal, it became professional. As Mauricio's real estate career exploded, Kyle's role on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills gave their family unprecedented visibility. Viewers watched their daughters grow up. They saw the white parties, the luxury homes, the affectionate moments that made them seem untouchable. In a franchise known for broken marriages, Kyle and Mauricio were presented as the rare success story. But even fairy tales can carry tension beneath the surface. There were subtle shifts that longtime viewers started noticing. Fewer joint interviews. More solo appearances. Social media posts that felt carefully worded instead of spontaneous. Then came the separation announcement, calm, respectful, almost too controlled. They described it as a rough year and emphasized love and mutual respect. No scandal. No dramatic accusations. At least not publicly. Behind closed doors, insiders suggest the conversations were far more complicated. When business success and marriage are intertwined for decades, separating the two isn't simple. The agency, Mauricio's global brokerage, grew massively during the years Kyle's television presence was at its peak. Some close to the situation believe that growth wasn't a coincidence, that her fame opened doors that business strategy alone couldn't. And that's where things allegedly began to unravel. Because when a marriage that long begins to fracture, it's not just about emotions. It's about shared assets, shared influence, and shared history. And according to sources close to Kyle, recent discoveries made her question whether everything had truly been shared equally. What she found, or what she believes she found, may be the reason this quiet separation is no longer staying quiet. The real shift, according to sources close to the situation, didn't happen during a public event or in front of cameras. It happened quietly, in a private meeting that was never meant to become part of the story. Several insiders claim that late last year, Kyle requested a full review of certain shared financial accounts as part of what she believed was a standard separation process. Nothing dramatic. Just clarity. After 27 years of marriage, it would be expected. But what allegedly came back from that review is what changed everything. A source familiar with the matter says there were transactions Kyle did not recognize, international transfers tied to business entities connected to the agency. These weren't small amounts. We're talking about substantial corporate restructuring that had reportedly taken place over the previous year. Ownership percentages shifting. New holding companies appearing in overseas filings. Timing that, according to those close to Kyle, felt strategic. When she confronted Mauricio, the conversation reportedly did not go the way she expected. One insider claims the discussion quickly became tense. Kyle allegedly asked directly, "Why wasn't I told about this?" The response, according to that same source, was framed as routine business strategy expansion, tax structuring, nothing personal. But for Kyle, it didn't feel routine. It felt deliberate. And here's where it gets complicated. People close to Mauricio insist that everything was legal and business-driven. They argue that in the world of international real estate, restructuring is common and necessary. But from Kyle's perspective, or at least from what insiders are saying, the timing raised questions. If the marriage was already under strain, why make major financial adjustments without clear communication? That's when the emotional aspect collided with the financial one. Friends of Kyle say she began to re-examine past moments that suddenly felt different. Business trips that seemed longer than necessary. Meetings she wasn't included in. Public statements about their strong partnership that now felt rehearsed. The more she looked, the more unsettled she became. And then came the first real twist. According to a source who claims to have seen private correspondence, there were internal emails between senior executives discussing protecting core assets during personal transitions. The phrase itself isn't illegal. It's not even unusual in corporate environments. But insiders allege those emails were dated weeks before the couple publicly confirmed their separation. That detail reportedly hit Kyle hard. Because if true, it suggests that business precautions were being taken before she fully understood the direction their marriage was heading. Was it forward planning? Or was it preparation for something she hadn't been told? When whispers of this internal restructuring began circulating in small Beverly Hills circles, the tone of the separation narrative shifted. What had been presented publicly as mutual and respectful suddenly felt layered. Kyle, according to friends, felt blindsided not just as a spouse, but as someone who had publicly defended and promoted the very company now being scrutinized. For years, she had showcased the agency on television, at events, across social media. The brand and their marriage were intertwined in the public eye. Now, privately, she allegedly began asking a question that changes the entire dynamic. Was she supporting a shared dream, or helping build a safety net she didn't know she might be excluded from? The tension reportedly escalated during a family gathering where the topic resurfaced. Witnesses described the atmosphere as strained but controlled. No screaming. No dramatic exits. Just two people who suddenly realized they were standing on opposite sides of something much bigger than a relationship. And then another unexpected detail surfaced. A source claims that during this period, a high-level investor quietly requested clarification about the company's stability amid the couple's separation rumors. That request, insiders say, triggered internal discussions about public perception, discussions that allegedly prioritized protecting the business narrative over addressing Kyle's concerns. If that's accurate, it may explain why she now feels ready to speak. Because from her perspective, this isn't just about private disappointment anymore. It's about transparency. And the first twist isn't necessarily that money moved, it's that it may have moved before the emotional truth of the marriage was fully acknowledged. If that timeline proves accurate, the question becomes unavoidable. Was this careful planning or calculated distancing? And if that's only the beginning, what else hasn't been publicly explained yet? Just when it seemed like the situation couldn't grow more complicated, something unexpected happened. The story left private conversations and entered the public arena. It started subtly. A financial blog posted a short analysis questioning recent structural changes within the agency's international branches. The article didn't mention Kyle directly, but it highlighted strategic ownership adjustments that occurred around the same time separation rumors intensified. Within hours, fans connected the dots. Then came the social media threads. One viral post read, "If she helped build the brand, why is everything suddenly being moved around?" Another user responded, "This feels less like a divorce and more like corporate damage control." The speculation spread quickly, not because of confirmed facts, but because the timing felt too aligned to ignore. And then came the moment that shifted everything. According to a source close to Kyle, she recently obtained documentation outlining projected future profits tied to international expansions that were negotiated while they were still publicly presenting as a united couple. If accurate, it means that deals potentially influenced by her visibility and public support were structured in ways she may not have fully understood at the time. The most surprising part? An insider claims that during a private conversation, Kyle allegedly said, "I stood beside him for every major milestone. If my name and presence opened doors, I deserve to know how those doors were structured." That statement, whether paraphrased or exact, reportedly marked a turning point, because it reframed the issue from emotional betrayal to professional accountability. Meanwhile, entertainment outlets began picking up the narrative. Headlines shifted from amicable split to financial questions emerging. Industry insiders reportedly started asking whether the brand could withstand prolonged scrutiny. But here's the real shock. Sources now suggest that Kyle may be considering publicly clarifying her position, not to attack, but to protect her own credibility. If she does, this won't just be a divorce update. It will be a direct challenge to how the empire was built and who truly helped build it. And if that happens, the fallout could extend far beyond their marriage. The moment the financial angle entered the conversation, everything changed. Fans who once debated relationship rumors suddenly shifted their focus to business ethics. Online forums exploded with long threads analyzing timelines, public appearances, and company growth charts. One trending comment read, "This isn't about love anymore. It's about leverage." Another wrote, "If she helped build the brand publicly, she has every right to question the structure privately." But not everyone is siding with Kyle. Supporters of Mauricio argue that expansion and asset protection are normal in high-level real estate. One user posted, "People restructure companies all the time. That doesn't make it a conspiracy." Others warned against assuming wrongdoing without full context, saying the internet has a history of turning business decisions into scandals. The divide is sharp and growing. Inside the industry, the reaction has reportedly been quieter, but just as intense. Real estate insiders are said to be watching closely, not because of gossip, but because perception matters. In luxury markets, reputation is currency. Even unproven speculation can make investors uneasy. A broker familiar with high-end Los Angeles deals allegedly told a trade outlet, "Clients don't like uncertainty. If there's even a hint of instability at the top, it trickles down." At the same time, entertainment executives are paying attention for a different reason. Kyle's narrative, if she chooses to tell it, holds massive media value. Some insiders believe streaming platforms would compete heavily for an exclusive interview or docuseries moment if she decides to speak openly. And that possibility has added fuel to the fire. Because now the question isn't just whether there were business decisions made quietly. It's whether those decisions will be dissected publicly in front of millions. Friends close to the couple say communication between them has become increasingly formal, measured, strategic. No dramatic outbursts. Just careful words, likely chosen with legal awareness. Which makes the silence even louder. Because when powerful people stop reacting emotionally and start reacting strategically, it usually means something much bigger is at stake. And the industry knows it. Just when observers thought the narrative had reached its peak, a new detail quietly surfaced, and this one could change everything. According to a source familiar with ongoing legal discussions, there may be a dispute over the exact date the marriage officially shifted from working through issues to separated. On the surface, that sounds technical. But in California, timing is everything. The date of separation can determine what qualifies as shared property and what doesn't. If major expansion deals or corporate restructures happened before that legal line was drawn, they could potentially fall into one category. If they happened after, they fall into another. And insiders now claim that both sides may be preparing to argue very different timelines. One source close to Kyle suggests she believes they were still functioning publicly and privately as a couple while significant business negotiations were underway. Meanwhile, individuals familiar with Mauricio's perspective reportedly maintain that emotional separation had already occurred long before it became public knowledge. That disagreement alone could reshape the entire financial conversation. But here's the twist that has insiders whispering. There are rumors that unaired footage from recent reality filming allegedly captures moments that contradict the "we were already separated" narrative. Nothing explosive. No dramatic confrontation. But scenes that, if interpreted a certain way, might suggest partnership rather than distance. If that footage ever becomes relevant in a legal setting, or worse, becomes public, it could complicate everything. And this is where the situation turns from personal fallout to strategic chess match. Because now it's not just about who moved money or who felt betrayed. It's about documentation, timelines, receipts. Sources say both camps are fully aware that the next step will define how this story is remembered as a private divorce or as a public reckoning over power and partnership. For now, neither side has made a definitive public statement addressing these specific claims. But if one of them decides to speak clearly and with evidence, the entire narrative could flip overnight. And the biggest question remains unanswered. Who actually holds the timeline that tells the real story? So now I want to hear from you. After everything we've discussed, the financial restructuring, the timeline dispute, the alleged internal emails, the questions about shared success, where do you stand? Do you believe this is simply a complicated divorce between two high-profile people trying to protect their interests? Or does it feel like something deeper, a story about power, transparency, and who truly helped build an empire? Because let's be honest, when love, business, and fame are intertwined for nearly 3 decades, there are always layers the public doesn't see. And sometimes the quietest moments carry the biggest consequences. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Kyle has every right to demand answers? Or do you believe Mauricio is just doing what any major CEO would do during a personal transition? I want real opinions, not just headlines. And if new documents surface, if that rumored footage ever becomes relevant, if one of them finally speaks in detail, this story could shift fast. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Because if this turns into a public clarification or even a courtroom battle, we'll be breaking it down piece by piece. This situation is still unfolding, and the next move could change everything. Stay tuned because this story is far from over.